Well, thank you all for coming today. Today's for all of you to learn more about us, what we do, about our products, and just how to hopefully be able to better your operation. That's what we're here for. And we just go direct to farmers and ranchers and try to help them solve their problems. We'll start off with kind of introducing who we are ourselves, tell a little bit about our history and stuff. If you have any questions at all during this whole time, feel free to stop us and ask. Like I said, that's what we're here to answer your questions and stuff. So the man cooking sitting there is Mr. Bill Strange. He is the owner and founder of Nature's Formula. Nature's Formula has been in business over 10 years now, and it's come a long ways. And then his daughter, Natalie, I'll let you talk, Natalie, a little bit on the history of Nature's Formula, because she's been here since day one, along with Bill, like I said, over 10 years ago. So,
hi, I'm Natalie, and I'm the general manager, and like I said, Bill's daughter. He started messing with microbes back in the early 90s, and then he started making our SureGrow, which is the fertilizer, in this little facility right there by itself for many years. And then I came on about 13 years ago, and all the families kind of just helped him, and we've grown over the years to this bigger facility. We went more bigger farmers. We were just little gardens and such. So now we're a lot in the bigger farms. And then he's also made all these cattle and horse products. Every product that he's come up with, a customer has come to us with a problem. Hey, I've got this going on. Can you fix it? He researches, he looks at everything, and he comes up with these products. So that's kind of what we're about, is helping the farmer and the rancher and making it cost effective while doing so. I have Kaylin here. She works in the office with me. Bethany is inside doing food, but I have Bethany also that works with me. So if you call, you may talk to one of us three, and they do quite a bit and help us keep that office running.
My name is Willie Strange. I'm the production manager here in Brownsboro, and I do all the quality control. Any products you use, I'm the one that either made it or I made sure it was made right. If you look behind you there at these metal tanks right there by the skid steer, that's what we started with. That was our original fertilizer unit. And if you look over here where the red tape is, where the tanks are there, that's our new fertilizer unit that we've built in the last year. So we've grown quite a bit from where we were to where we are today. Like to introduce the guys that work with me. We got Trey, he's my foreman. We got Bryce, he works here with us. He just started, been here about 2 weeks. And then we got Michael John, he works with us as well. He's been here about a month. That's all I got.
yep, very good. And if you want to give it to Wade.
Hey guys, I'm Wade Sprinkle from Lamar, Missouri, and Bill brought me on back in kind of late December, early January. I started as a customer about 5 years ago using the product on our farm. I'm a third generation farmer, and we grow corn, wheat, and soybeans, and I'd tried tens of different biologicals, definitely over 10, probably close to a dozen, and I had never found something that actually worked, and on the backside of that was cost effective. So it's been an awesome journey for us. It very quickly became the foundation of our fertility program on our farm. Everything is built around SureGrow, and so SureGrow is the core, and then everything else just kind of ties in with the SureGrow applications. So it's been great. Bill's been a huge mentor to me the last several years. Everybody here has become like family. You know, I'm very thankful for the opportunity to be here and to do what I do. So I definitely am thoroughly enjoying it. Never thought I would be doing anything else in life besides farming, but I still get to be there at home on our farm, and kind of still help run the business side of things, but and then the implementation of our products. But other than that, I'm just doing this all the time, and very thankful. So.
Yeah, and then my name's Peyton Owens, and I'm the sales manager. I've been the sales manager for going 2 years now, and I started as a sales rep for Bill back in 2020, and I've known him since probably at least 2015 or so. So I've known him quite a while before I started working with him and everything. And then so I help oversee all the sales and work with the sales reps. We got several sales reps here today. I think we got more on the way. I think everyone's kind of delayed with the rain and stuff. But we got Kenneth Bolding right there from Palestine, Texas. Cody Ketchum there from Headley, Oklahoma. Perry Owens from Minneapolis, Kansas. And then Richard Harris from right here at LaRue. So those are kind of some of the sales reps that were able to make it. And like I said, I think we got more on the way. So yeah, we're gonna then go over the products, tell you guys what those are, what we got. Everything we got is all natural. Everything we focus on the soil side of thing, we're focusing on your soil health and getting it back to where it needs to be balanced. Working with microbes, the life in the soil. On the livestock side of things, we're focused on the gut health, getting that balanced. Most of your health is within the gut on your livestock, so we focus on the probiotics. So we got folders here and stuff. If y'all want to, we can get you a folder and everything, and it has info on products and the notepads here for y'all. If you want to take notes or anything, so we'll pass those out real quick. Yeah. So again, if at any time you guys got questions, don't hesitate to stop and ask. But the first and main product, the backbone of the company, the first product Bill invented is the BioSure Grow. And it's essentially a liquid microbial fertilizer. It's full of microbes designed to help balance your soil, release the nutrients tied up in it. And that product's been around since the early 90s is when he first actually made it, but then didn't bring it to market until like 11 years ago.
When you apply that, do you apply it to the soil or to what's on top of it, like the grass? What takes it to wash it and get it into the soil?
You, especially on, we recommend foliar, especially on grass and pasture settings. You foliar spray it, a gallon per acre. The base product is $15 a gallon, so you're looking at 15 an acre. It's all made right here, right over there is where it's all made at. It comes right from this facility, and we ship it all over. We're clear down by the border with Mexico all the way up to Minnesota, and we're spreading east and west from there. So we got 21 sales reps, and we're covering a wide area, and we're continuing to grow and expand.
Yeah, I would like to expand on on that a little bit. I had mentioned earlier when I introduced myself that I've used a lot of different fire ants. I've used a lot of different products in the past, and it's important to know what sets us apart from other companies out there. And Bill figured out how to take living microbes and put them into a solution and suspension to keep them alive, so whenever the customer purchases the product, you're getting what you paid for. You're getting the live, living, thriving microbes, and that I've never seen another product that can do that. Most of the time, they'll take different strains of bacteria or fungi, and they'll ramp up populations in a medium and then put it in a jug and send it out. And is there like a national emergency going on right now? It's like 7 phone calls in like 20 seconds. But they'll ramp the bugs up, and then they'll put them in a jug and send it to your farm. And when you get it, you have the stink of the product, and that's the die-off. There's no way for these guys to put these different bugs together and keep them from killing each other. And will that still be beneficial to your soil? Yes, that's still food for your native microbes, but that's not the purpose of what they're trying to sell it as. So Bill's been able to take those microbes and keep them alive, and that it's out of this world. Back to your question, sir, you can apply it directly to your soil and it'll work as a soil amendment, but that is not the key way to use it. Like, that's not what we preach, but you'll still get the benefits out of it, just not the foliar benefits out of the plant available enzymes that are present in the product and the quick response fertilizer from it. And when you spray your foliage, it's in the plant systemically now. So now those microbes have taken up with that host, and they're there to work simultaneously throughout that life of that plant.
Do you recommend that you mow it off and then apply it, or?
So we have guys that if they're mowing hay, say, and they applied SureGrow, there's guys that'll wait 2 or 3 cuttings to reapply. I'm not in the hay business. I come from row crop system, but if I was doing hay, which we do prairie hay and stuff, but that's 1 cutting a year. But if we were doing hay, I would be applying it after each cutting. Yeah.
And like the first time in the year, you do it after green up. Kind of when stuff's starting to green up, you apply, and then after each cutting to help boost production, feed your plant. Go ahead.
Especially on account of all of the prices of cattle now, we're actually trying to hold on to everything we can as far as the cows. And so we're actually grazing about a cow to the acre. And when you go through a drought with a cow to the acre, it don't work very well. But because of some of the other products that they're going to also be talking about, we was able to feed them with the liquid feed and the additives and stuff and carry them through it. Yes, we did have to start putting out hay a little early. But we had applied the SureGrow prior to getting into the drought, or right at the end, right when it was starting, these last 2 years. And then, of course, when you get the drought, it don't grow. But when we started getting rain again, it started growing. And it growed like you just fertilized it, and so that's what we've seen on the hay part of it. It carries you through the drought so much better than the
fire ants too?
Unfortunately not. I don't know if y'all found one for them yet. But I did notice that we had some of the cut ants, them big red ants that eat the grasses. And I was spraying SureGrow over with the Plus B, and I did notice that them mounds went away. There's a plus there too, you get some of your grass back from that. I know I'm getting way ahead of y'all on the Plus B, but I'm a firm believer in the Plus B along with the SureGrow. It takes care of all of it.
So just a little bit more about the SureGrow before we get into like the Plus B and the additives. SureGrow, a lot of people, depends on who we're working with and their kind of past history. Some people just use it as a standalone fertilizer on their hay and pastures and stuff. Others, if they're already using a lot of synthetics or granular, they'll back off. We got people that were using 400 pounds and they're down to 200 pounds and adding a gallon, and they're getting the same amount of production as they were at 400. Because the way microbes work, anything you put with it, they enhance it, they break it down into an available form, into an enzyme that the plant can uptake. So mixing it with other liquid fertilizers, it mixes great. Some people mix it with herbicides to enhance their herbicides, get a better kill, because SureGrow goes into the plant immediately after you spray it. As soon as it touches the plant, they're living organisms. They go right into the plant, and they take anything with it that you put in there with it, whether it's an herbicide or other fertilizer. SureGrow itself will not burn plants. You can dump a full gallon on a seedling, it will not burn it. But a gallon per acre is the sweet spot. Obviously, this year you guys don't have a drought. You got flooding and everything. But in drought situations, like he said, we still recommend spraying it. They're going to still be there for when you do catch a rain. Or a lot of people will say you're going into a drought after you sprayed your grass or crops or whatever, they're going to last. They're going to stay greener longer than everyone else's, hopefully to get you to the next rain, because those microbes are working. Microbes need moisture though too. That's their highway. That's how they move around and do their job. But if you run out of moisture, they'll just sit there and wait until you do get moisture and go back to work. So you'll get a faster green up after a drought situation.
Let's hit on that, what you said about the chemical again. When you pair SureGrow with chemical application, we have saved over $20,000 a year on our farm just without having to use adjuvants. So we stopped the use of all adjuvants and will only use about a quart of SureGrow per acre. We'll move in here. And what that does for us is it doesn't just save us money, it also enhances the kill. So there's some guys that are using a third rate of chemical. We keep the rate the same because in a cropping system, if you've got 30-inch row soybeans and you're waiting 2 months for canopy, you don't want any herbicide resistance. You don't want anything to not die. It's a little different than out in a pasture. If you have a few weed escapes, it doesn't make you or break you like it does in a cropping system. So we use a full rate of chemical, but we use a quart of SureGrow per acre with it, and it is lights out every time. We don't have any problems killing weeds, and it doesn't matter if it's water hemp, pigweeds, palm or amaranth, some of the stuff that's a little harder to kill. We smoke it, so that's a big deal for grass guys, in your pastures using Grazon. It works amazing.
All right, we'll get into then the Plus B additive. That's our most popular additive and is pretty much a must-have in my opinion, no matter what you're doing or where you're at. I always recommend the Plus B because everyone fights predatory insects on their, whether it's grass or corn or wheat or whatever, you're fighting some kind of insect sometime during that plant's life. So what the Plus B additive is it's a microbe that Bill has isolated that we are able to add into the SureGrow for an extra $3 a gallon. So it makes it $18 a gallon total. And when you put that in there, the SureGrow takes it into the plant. When you foliar, that Plus B then is in the plant, living in the plant. And a predatory insect comes along, like you guys down here, armyworms, grasshoppers are your biggest nemesis. They take a bite of the plant, ingest that microbe, and that microbe kills them from the inside out. It eats out their insides essentially. So you get armyworms coming, they'll hit the edge of your field, maybe make it 20 feet or whatever, depending on how many armyworms there is, because they got to take a bite and let that microbe work, but it stops them in their tracks and saves the majority of your field. And row crops, it lasts you all the way to harvest. It's in the plant. On pasture or hay, you usually are able to get 2 cuttings out of it, but like Kenneth said, he wants full strength every single time, so he reapplies. But we do have guys that'll do it every 2 cuttings that's living in the roots. After you cut the first time, it regrows enough that you got protection, but after that second cutting, it's getting too diluted that it's not going to be able to protect you. Grazing situations, it just kind of depends on how hard you graze. If you graze it down to nothing, you're going to harvest a lot of that microbe. If you graze half, leave half, you can probably get away with it a lot longer. So, you got anything to add on the Plus B?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It is we classify that as a preventative, and so we have 2 classes typically in insecticides and fungicides. Like as far as chemistry goes on the market, it's not a chemical product, so I want to clear that up. But it is a preventative, so you need to apply it before there is an infestation. If there's an infestation out there, it will help with the next cycle, but guys, the problem's already there. It's not going to kill on contact. So I want to make that very clear. The second thing I want to talk about is it's all about getting that spray, that Plus B and SureGrow on the foliage. It has to go on the foliage. So if you're spraying little plants with a lot of bare ground in between, a lot of that spray is hitting the ground. We want it on the foliage because that is not a reproducing microbe. That microbe has to hit as much foliage as it can to get into that plant, because what you get on it is what you get in it. Okay, we can't stress that enough. What you get on it is what you get in it. So if you've got little bitty grass out there with a lot of dirt in between, okay, I don't like that. I'm just going to be honest, I don't like that. You want to get it into the foliage. Cannot stress that enough. The main thing that we're after is we want to solve that, guys' problems, but we can't do that if the product's not used correctly. We don't like to see when the product's not used correctly. I wish I said that never happens, but I'd be lying.
Yeah, the biggest thing with that is just making sure it's applied before an infestation. Otherwise, you're just behind the 8 ball and the Plus B can't catch up. So
our second additive that you can get put in your SureGrow is, we call it's a NF Plus M mold and fungus preventative. So it is a natural fungicide is what it is. And it's the same way, it falls into that preventative category. In the chemical world, you've got preventative fungicides, you've got curatives, so they call them. But this falls into the preventative category as well. You've got to get it on your plant before disease is present, okay? It's an enzyme that helps keep your plant leaf tissue healthy. It helps keep it free from disease. We've used this product on our farm, and it is an amazing product. We're far enough south that we struggle with a lot of diseases that you find in Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Texas, and then on to the eastern states as well. And if you can get the Plus M applied in the right timing, where those disease pressures come up from the south usually, you can really do well and not have to worry about a fungicide application, which really saves a lot of money each year. So we've got, I think, a side-by-side picture of some corn that we had not sprayed the Plus M on, and it just got ate up by southern rust, and some corn that has the Plus M on it, and it's beautifully green and vibrant and no disease present. So it's a phenomenal product. It's an additional $4, which compared to a fungicide app, that is, I mean, it's just a killer price. Typically we're spending anywhere from $18 to sometimes even up to $24 on a fungicide application. Plus, if you don't have your own rig, you got to pay for another pass across your field. So that goes in with the SureGrow. Plus M and Plus B cannot be applied separately. It will go with a gallon of SureGrow every time. You can put the two together into the SureGrow and run Plus B and Plus M at the same time.
Yep, Kenneth.
I got a question for that one because I hadn't messed with the M at all. Hadn't had no use for it that I knew of. On San Augustine grass, on lawns and centipede, will that take care of root rot? And I guess it wouldn't cheech bugs though, would it? That's a bug, so that would be. Would the Plus B work on that?
Plus B works on cheech bugs, yeah.
Okay.
If the Plus B is present, it doesn't matter if the bug is chewing on the roots or chewing on the top, the foliage, it's gonna get them.
Okay. So the Plus B would be for the cheech bugs. What about the root rot?
Yeah, so there's several things, and I'd have to do some research on grass, and Bill may already know the answer to that. But there's several things that contribute, I know, in a cropping system to root rot, and most of the time it's disease, like different fungus that harbors in the soil, overwinters in the soil. So I would definitely be applying the Plus M if you have that present. And another thing that's really going to help with that is the microburst, which we haven't talked about. But the microburst is going to help break that stuff down and alleviate some of those diseases that harbor in the soil in the off season through breaking down the residue, which is their host.
Okay. The reason I ask is we took over our churchyard, and it's got a bunch of St. Augustine and centipede, and it hadn't been taken care of for years, and we're trying to get it up like it's supposed to be. So.
Yeah, the Plus M will work on grasses as well, and obviously in a year like this, you're probably going to have more of those type of issues than in a year like last year or two when it's dry. So the last additive that we have that can go into SureGrow is what we call a micronutrient pack. And how this is we look at your soil samples, the trace nutrients in there like zinc, copper, boron, sulfur, manganese, and we can tailor make a micro pack to you. It's a powder that then you dump in of one of those nutrients or all 5 of those nutrients, depending on what you need, what your soil is lacking. Because overall, like I said, what SureGrow is designed to do is balance your soil. That's what we're after in the long run, is balancing your soil. Most people, the longer they use SureGrow, just the more and more their soil changes. As it becomes more balanced, they'll start infiltrating water better. Just everything's starting to work better. The nutrient cycle is working how it needs to.
I'll add to that. Back in 2021, I was tissue sampling corn, and I had some conversations with Bill about, this is one of those amazing stories that I love to tell, but we had some conversations with Bill about being low on boron. Boron applications don't typically come cheap either, and they very mixed results, and boron is extremely important. Some of the processes that carry out because of boron, and I was really concerned about it. And so essentially what he did was modified a micronutrient pack with boron for me to put into the SureGrow, and then I sprayed an application at tassel time in my corn, and in 1 week I took my boron from 2 to 3 parts per million of boron in the leaf tissue to 12 to 14 parts per million, which was right in the perfect zone. And I mean, I took just a few pounds of this product that he put together and put it into 250 gallons of SureGrow. So you're talking fractions of ounce per acre made the difference with the microbes. And so, do the micronutrient packs work? Yes, they do. It seems like you're putting so little on a lot of acreage, but it works, and it's pretty amazing.
If you haven't done soil samples or anything, we can help you with that. We can send it off. We use Midwest Labs up in Nebraska. We can send it off there. That's a test that we just use and look at. And then we'll get with you and go over the soil sample with you guys. We do all that. I think the sample costs $25, but other than that, it's free of charge to tell you what we see and what we recommend and everything. Another product then that we have as an amendment to help boost even more production, whether it's in row crops or hay, is our P&K product. Its recommended rate on pasture and hay fields is 2 gallons per acre. And I don't know if we'll get to go out and look and see, but that's what everything around here has had: 1 gallon of SureGrow and 2 gallons of P&K product. And so that's what a lot of guys are running that as their full program on hay and pasture settings down in this area.
So P&K is our only product that is not considered to be like all natural. It is a very pure form of liquid fertilizer. It is a food grade low salt formula made of phosphoric acid and potassium hydroxide. It has already went through a process to be 100% plant available. It's got plant available enzymes in it. Phenomenal product, guys. This stuff will change the way you fertilize. The awesome thing about it is you've got foliar fertilizers that are out on the market, and then you've got the P&K liquid fertilizer that you foliar, so that automatically in our minds we put that in the same category as a foliar fertilizer. And the difference is that the P&K will continue to give throughout the growing season because of the enzymes that are present in the formula. And so you put the 2 gallons out there, that's a lot for a foliar application. You know, foliar applications, even in a cropping system, typically come at a quart per acre. But you put the 2 gallons out there and that will sustain your grass, your pasture. We even have guys doing the 2 gallons in cropping systems, and having very good results with the SureGrow with it. But it's a great formula. 2 things I'll say about it. If you're gonna mix it with a herbicide, jar test it first, because it does not mix with everything. I'll just tell you that, and can't stress that enough. There's nothing worse than a day where you gum up your sprayer. That's a bad day. So jar test it, make sure that it blends with whatever you're wanting to put with it. The second thing, we like to apply that with about 10 gallons of water. So if you're spraying, you know, and you want to run 10 gallons an acre, and you know 2 of those 10 gallons will be P&K, but I like to see it go on with about 10 gallons of water. And then 1 of those gallons will be SureGrow, so essentially you run 7 gallons of water with 3 gallons of product.
Yep, so P&K and SureGrow you can apply at the same time. But like I said, anything else that you're adding, we always recommend just jar testing just to be safe, because we don't want you to have that day where you plug up your sprayer and stuff. That's not a good phone call to get. So another product that we have on the soil side is our Microburst product. It is it's a degradation product to help break down residue, or we got people using it to help build compost a lot faster, whether it's manure, or we got guys even using it breaking down chickens within manure and stuff. So I know you got anything on it?
Yeah, the Microburst it's an important product that often gets overlooked, and that's something we've been trying to fix, because the SureGrow is so amazing. The Microburst is a big deal in breaking down what happens when, like, why do we need to break the residue down? That's the first question that we need to ask ourselves. And it doesn't matter if you're in a haying situation or pasture, or maybe you're running a warm season and a cool season grass, and then you've got that dead grass that kind of lays down. It's kind of a mat. Anytime that you've got, or maybe you're running cover crops and grazing cover crops, or maybe you're not grazing them, but if you've got a mat or any kind of dead residue on your soil, that is good, but it's also bad. You've got to put the biology there to break that down, get that nutrient cycle going, and that mat that's there, that's protecting your soil, is also harboring bad pathogens. Now it's coming in sideways. It's harboring pathogens that are harming your system. So we like to implement the Microburst to break that mat down, let it become fertilizer for your next crop, and get that nutrient cycle going. And with the Microburst, it's not a one-time you applied it and you're done. It continues to work for you around the clock, even, you know, every day, 365. But at the end of that year, if you're going dormant, or if you've got a layer of thatch out there that you dead material, of dead residue, spray it. We were just at a ranch yesterday, and she had some rye that had died back. And she said if it was dry, I'd be spraying microbursts, and absolutely, to help start breaking that down, release those nutrients for your next crop.
Yeah, it'll definitely help you start building up organic matter pretty dang quick. Perry wants to talk about it. He's used it a lot in a feedlot setting, building compost, and then also on his fields.
Yeah, in my, we use it quite a bit on the composting side. We've seen some wonderful things happen there. We could make some awesome product out of just your standard manure coming out of a feed yard. We was seeing, most of your compost, you're gonna see a 50% volume shrink because of how things work in the system. Most of them are pulling out moisture. On ours, we was getting a 60-70% yield on that. Our nutrient in there, we was actually increasing our nitrogen and our phos and everything on a per town basis. We check it from the start, and when we got done, all back on a dry matter basis. So the microbes were helping release a lot of that that's available. We used it in our field situation. Being from a feed yard, we was used it on where we was getting rid of our water or just from the runoff of the feed yard. And we hayed twice a year. Got started 8 years ago, something like that, on the Sure Grow. When he started the microburst, we tried it out there on the field. We didn't have hardly any coverage on top of matter because we'd hayed it all, just a little bit of regrowth. But we still started raising our organic matter back up. We seen that's 30 days we started seeing the degradation because we got the pictures of it out there of just a few plants that we had. So it proved there it's working in your roots too and stuff. So it's going to work through the whole soil, and we needed organic matter to start building back. That's not normal in our pulling 2 hay crops a year, plant in the fall, hay it in the spring, fall, chase the baler out and plant it again, and doing that. And we just kept raising it. We didn't have dirt out there, we had soil. We started rebuilding our topsoil back. That's a combination of putting the whole program together. The Sure Grow, the microburst added another notch to it that made it that much better. So it's easy to apply. The microburst is easy to apply and stuff. It's a pint per acre. Same as if you've got some manure there, you do a pint per ton. Costs $7. It's well worth the money. Everybody thinks I want to keep that residue on. I've got a customer up there, new customers fighting. Everybody's seen the roly-polies when you pick up a piece of wood? He's got enough residue on there, they're eating his soybeans off. So we're going to talk about microburst this fall, help control that. So we're doing the biocharge now, but you're going to get into that later. So here you go.
There any questions on the microburst or anything so far? Yeah, the application rate of the microburst is a pint per acre, and it costs $7 an acre to spray it. It can be mixed with herbicides if need be or anything, if you're doing like a fall burn down of any type. And it's a pint per acre, whether it's on your fields or in a composting situation, pint per ton. Do what?
Go on wheat with corn out there, it's only gonna get the residue.
Yeah, any type of residue you want to break down. If it's wheat, go and corn coming after, or a lot of guys will use it, apply it in the fall, let it work over the winter, especially in row cropping situations. But in grass, it can be applied anytime really, and it's going to work.
You've got a shot on poultry composting pile?
Just a little bit, yeah. Yeah.
Any luck?
He just asked if we had any luck on a poultry composting pile, and I believe up in Nebraska, the chickens in the pile were completely degraded. I don't know the time frame, but yeah, that's the feedback we've gotten so far. So.
That didn't happen often around here.
Yeah.
A lot of bones to make
Yeah, we'd have to double check on the feedback for sure, but that's so far what I've heard. So, you want to cover bio? We got last product we have on The fertilizer and soil side, before we get into the livestock products, is what we just came out with this year, a seed inoculant. And I'll let Wade kind of just briefly discuss that.
Yeah, Biocharge is a microbial seed inoculant that we use to fully treat the seed. So we get away from other, I guess, chemical seed treatments. And you can, if you're getting seed in, say it's alfalfa seed that's pre-treated, you can treat over the top of the pre-treated seed, that's fine. But this is something that's been saving guys a ton of money, saves us a ton of money on seed treatment, and it's worked amazing on wheat, and we'll have some yield results on wheat here in several weeks. But it's easy to use and mixes well, and it has a full load of biology, also with protection against insects and disease. So, and it's designed to protect from below the ground up to when that seed's put in the ground, up to emergence and until you can get that first application of SureGrow applied. So we don't like that there wasn't anything for that period, which is the most critical period in a seedling's life, is whenever it's taken out of that comfortable, nice, protective layer that we call a bag, and it's put into the soil that's big, dark, and scary, full of bad guys. There's no protection from there till the time that we're able to spray it with SureGrow. So that's why we created the Biocharge, to eliminate that gap, preserve the potential of that seedling, and get it to that point where we can apply the BioSureGrow and then protect it from then on. You guys need to move.
See what we just did on this? This is every night. Right up in the middle.
Love this. Hopefully y'all can hear okay. Ketchum asked me a great question while we were kind of running over here, or right before. One of the things that we talk about is being able to retain moisture in our soil after using BioSureGrow because of the increase in organic matter. But also it helps with letting the water penetrate and flow through your ground, going up and down, okay? And so one of the questions that he asked was, with all this rain that we've had this year, this spring, how has that affected your wheat crop? And there's a lot of dead spots around that we see, drowned out spots in wheat. What does that look like after using the products? And that's something that I've talked quite a bit about to guys, and people see it. We've got wheat along a really busy highway, and we don't have the dead spots in the wheat. You know, we've been using the SureGrow for going on 5, and we had the microburst behind the corn stalks in the fall, and then has the Biocharge on the seed and the SureGrow on the wheat itself. And we don't have the die-off out in the fields, the wet spots that typically do hold moisture. You can drive across the whole county and find dead wheat everywhere, but you don't see that in our fields. And I 100% contribute that to the microbes. I mean, there's nothing else that we're doing. We don't have tile, we don't deep rip, we don't do any of those things to help get that water away. We've got a nasty hard pan, 12 to 18 inches underneath the topsoil, just like everybody else does in our area. The only thing that we're doing different is we have incorporated the full system of our microbes. And that's amazing. That's a huge testament.
And then also just want to touch on, in cases like this of heavy rain, you don't have to worry about SureGrow or any of our products washing away. They're in the plant, they're in the soil. They're not going to wash down to the river, wash away like your synthetics will. They're not going to volatilize or anything either then too, like they're there.
Unless you lose your soil. If you lose your soil, you lost them. But the enzymes as well, they don't leach and they don't tie up with other nutrients. That's a big deal.
Are there any questions on the soil side, fertilizer side? Otherwise, we'll move on to the livestock. products. And if you do have other questions, you think of something, feel free to ask later on too. So yeah, we'll start on the livestock. The few main, we got a lot of cattle products. And so you guys can see them here. Our main products that we start with is what we call the protocol, Nature's Formula Protocol for cattle. Would be a Feel Right oral drench, the Lung Score, which is also an oral drench, and the MB1. What the Feel Right is a probiotic drench loaded with a vitamin pack, electrolytes. You apply it during stressful times. So whether you're weaning your calves or whether you're buying in cattle from the sale barn, as soon as you receive them, you want to apply it. It just knocks out the stress, gives them a full load of probiotics to get that gut right. Everything we focus on the livestock side, focusing on gut health. Because like I said, that's where all the 80% of your animal's health is located in the gut. You get that right, most of your problems just go away. It's about balancing that gut. Then you go to the Lung Score. That is designed for respiratory issues in cattle. It's also a drench and got a lot of vitamins and minerals in it as well. Especially good to give to incoming cattle, so you don't know what they're bringing onto your place or anything like that. And then the MB1 is like an all-natural antibiotic. Does amazing things. Wound care. If you're giving it to cattle, we recommend giving it 5 cc's behind the ear like you would Exceed. Just very phenomenal, amazing product for, like I said, it's basically an all-natural antibiotic to help any type of. So you combine all 3 of those together, that costs you like $13.89 per head. And like I said, it's just that's our Nature's Formula Protocol. That's the main thing you have to give your cattle to get their gut loaded and balanced. Everything else is we consider like a maintaining product to maintain the probiotics within their gut. Okay.
This protocol that we recommend on incoming or calves, what it does, it makes available everything that can cure what they have. Like you said, the MB1 is a very strong antibiotic, but it's not antibiotic. In nature, they have antibiotics, and I've pulled out of nature and combined it with the microbes to make it the best antibiotic you can give. The Lung Score was made for upper respiratory system. Perry Owens had about 8,000 head feedlot, and he was having problem with the AIP. So I put this product together to counter the AIP, and it turned out it works on the upper respiratory system so well, so that's why we recommend it. And the Feel Right was put together. The first time I put it together, I had a friend that had 5 or 6 calves that lost their mother, and he didn't know that if they got colostomy or not. And I put this together to help what the colostomy does for the calf. And it's got the proper vitamins that the cattle need. It's also got electrolytes to pull in the moisture the cattle needs. And like I said, the microbes, that's the key to everything. It's the proper microbes that are in the gut system. I've isolated 13 species that is exacting what the cattle need to have. And that's why the products work so well. And using this protocol, you don't have retreat and retreat. And you see the health of the cattle improve immediately. And I think Ross needs to come up here. I got him on board, what?
Last October. Yeah, everything Mr. Bill said about the cattle products, 100% true. I just want to start off by saying that these products in particular are special. Not saying the fertilizers aren't, but we've used this stuff every day since October, pretty much. And yeah, what it does to the health of the herd. We deal in high-risk stalker calves, so they get the full protocol upon arrival. We go ahead and give them a full dose of the lung score, a full dose of the feel right, and a shot of MB1 behind the ear, straight into the lymphatic system. And what we've noticed is that the calves, they get started on feed much quicker. Back in October, we had a set of 4-weight heifer calves. They were eating 3.5% of their body weight within the first week. And that just blew me away. I mean, and that's on a dry matter basis. So it really gets the gut working and gets them eating. And then if you're not at, I don't know, 2.5% of their body weight within the first week, you're probably headed for a train wreck. So this gets the gut working, gets them eating, gets them set up for success. As far as sick cattle, we still do have some sick cattle after this. Our morbidity has gone way down, but we still have some. The retreats we don't have a whole lot of retreats. We've noticed that when we move cattle from the pens that we started them in, we'll have some sick ones, and we normally hit them with the feel right before we move them. But you're bound and determined to have one or two that is susceptible to something. So whenever we come across these calves, we've been fortunate enough to catch them in time and get the lung score in them and the MB1 in them. And we've had some calves that I mean had one hoof in the grave, so to speak, and it brought them back. And these calves have, are y'all coming over tomorrow? Yeah, these calves don't even look like they did last time you saw them. And that was about a week after we had doctored them. And we got some guys who help us gather cattle and doctor and sort and stuff. And I asked him, and he sees cattle every day. That's his livelihood. And I asked him, I said, what do you think this calf, what do you think her chances of survival are after seeing her? And she was walking her to the pen. She was falling down and swaying side to side. And, she had that grunt. And he said, Ian, you're going to be dragging her off the next day. So the next day I sent him a picture of her at the trough eating. And it was, I mean, like I said, that's just one testament, but there's many. I mean, we could sit here all day and just talk about our experience with it. But no, this stuff is great for any class of cattle. Like I said, we use it on high risk stalkers, and it kind of takes the risk out of it. So super thankful that Mr. Bill found something that actually works. Antibiotics, we about gave up on. We've tried every antibiotic in the book, and my dad can attest to that. We've spent some money on antibiotics. Mr. Bill told me something when I first met him. He said, antibiotics kills all the bacteria in the gut and in the lungs, and so we were taking all the good out, not putting anything back in them. And our morbidity and our case fatality rates were not good. And like I said, it wasn't from a lack of effort. We tried and tried and tried and doctored and doctored and doctored, and we just kept running into walls. But we started putting the good bacteria back in them, and since October, we're at 0.00025% mortality. That's only because we had one calf get struck by lightning, and that was five. That's 5 lot loads of calves that we've done since October. And in October we're normally penciling in 8% with the weather changes and the swings, and like I said, just commingled high-risk cattle. It's usually a recipe for failure. But yeah, with this stuff, man, it's been a night and day difference. So if anybody has any questions about it, or want to come see some results, you're more than welcome to come to our place. Just get with me, we'd love to have you. So yeah, no, these products are amazing. This company is amazing. We're going to keep using them and trying to spread the word. But if you have any sickness or anything that and the minerals are great too, and the feed additives, which I know we haven't covered that yet. But if you do the whole protocol, you're probably not going to lose many calves or cows, but not unless lightning gets you. But and in this kind of weather, the chances are getting better and better. But yeah, I can't say enough good thing about the cattle products. So.
Thank you, Ross. And yeah, you can see or hear how well they work in a stalker situation, high-risk cattle, but they also work great in cow-calf situations. You're working your calves, we recommend the protocol to knock that stress out of them, keep them going, keep them getting them to drink and eat. That's the 2 main battles you fight anytime there's a stress situation. You got anything to add? Or
The only thing I was going to say is, Mandy said it yesterday, these products are phenomenal, but you got to have good management as well, and that comes to implement the products. One thing I've picked up on right away from Ross and his dad, them guys are great cattlemen, and they've done a phenomenal job with those calves, and they both have jobs too. I mean, they ain't out there all day babysitting them. They let the microbes do that. But I used to do what he does, and it's not easy. And that was before I ever knew anything about Nature's Formula. And I did run into some of those train wrecks, and there's a lot of guys that still have those train wrecks. So that's our goal, to help them guys and do what Ross is doing and his dad. It's awesome.
yeah, obviously, good management goes a long ways. You still got to have good grass, rotationally graze them to save your grass. You still got to have good quality feed and everything. And then these products just help enhance all that, convert it better. They're not going to eat as much because they're getting more out of it. It's the same as how the SureGrow works with the soil, getting more nutrients out of it. The probiotic microbes in the gut works the same way to help your conversion. So that's the protocol, and then we also got several, and I said that's like 100% dose, and then there's several other products, because every cattle still needs minerals. So we got loose minerals that has probiotic, it's a probiotic mineral. I don't know if there's other probiotic minerals on the market, I haven't seen one. This is a chelated, all available mineral. Bill put it together with everything cattle need, all the proper minerals and vitamins that cattle need to be healthy and perform their best. We got the regular mineral and then a garlic mineral. And I think most people use the garlic. I use it year-round on my cow herd up in Kansas because that helps with fly control. There's other benefits too for heart health and everything like that with the garlic, but it definitely makes a night and day difference on your fly load to help deter them from your cattle.
How's that working when it's wet?
Typically, you just stir it all up again. Now maybe add a little bit of fresh too, but they'll still come up and consume it. It does get hard, but if you break it up and mix it again, they'll still come and eat it. It ain't gonna lose its minerals or anything in it. So. We also then have a liquid feed additive. If you feed any liquid feed to your cattle, this is just an additive. You add a gallon per 250 pounds or 250 gallons of liquid feed. It'll put a lot of probiotics in there. Typically the feedback then is it cuts the consumption of your liquid feed by around 50%. It's going to make it go that much further. They're going to utilize it that much more efficient. We was at Mandy's the other day, and she hasn't implemented the full protocol. This is just the first product she tried, and she's 100% sold. Her cattle, she said, they're 10-year-old Angus cattle, and they are as fat and happy as it can be. She's not feeding them anything other than just good grass that's fertilized with SureGrow and liquid feed. And like I said, they're 10 years old and you can't tell. Some of them are missing teeth and they're as fat as can be. Got a nice bloom, shine to them. They're beautiful, beautiful cattle.
And a great calf and a great bag. I mean, they're the kind, and they're 10.
And we also have a probiotic supplement that can be added if you're feeding any type of rations. It's going to be added directly to the feed, or top dress if you're just hand feeding a couple. And it's 2 ounces per head per day. It's just another avenue to help get probiotics into their gut system, get more out of your feed. I know, Ross, you implement those too. What have you seen from the rest of the cattle products?
During the winter months, sometimes when we're starting cats, we go out and we hay them. And our hay consumption is dramatically cut down. And they just seem more content, eyes are brighter. See more of them laying down, full, happy. And the biggest thing to me is the hay. I mean, hay, I don't think people understand how much hay might be one of our biggest expenses. Besides the cows themselves. If we can cut down on that, that's money to bring in. I think we figured it 12 cents ahead a day, what's going to cost you. So, relative to what these cows are bringing nowadays, it's a no-brainer. But no, I love it. Yeah, they're great.
And we also do here make what we call a super mix. It's a feed ration for cattle here. We can get you a tag and stuff too if you would like to look at that, but they make it right here as well.
Hey, I'm going to say something real quick. Not to put you on the spot, but I know you've answered this before. Them heifers that you had, you said the cost per day, but what was their gain? What did they gain per day?
Let's see, we're averaging about 2.5 pounds a day on food. A very high roughage ration, though. It's not, high energy. About 2.5 pounds a day for a 4-5 weight heifer.
Yeah, and if you can get 2.5 pounds a day on heifers, that's amazing. But 4 to 5 weights, guys don't realize how hard it is to put weight on 4 to 5 weights. That's tough. Really, really tough.
Okay, the other side of things that we have for livestock is we got a lot of equine products as well. Again, we're focusing on their gut health, probiotics, and the main product that a lot of people are on it, whether they're rodeo or whatever, is Equine Right. It's very similar to the Feel Right. It's just designed for horses. And like I said, it gets their gut right. A lot of people use it if they're rodeoing or traveling. They'll give it right before they travel and then right before they make their run. The reports back is that it calms the horse, gets their mind right, and helps them to focus on their job, and that's just because it settles their gut. It takes away the anxiety that horses will feel. I know, Richard, do you want to come up talk a little bit about what you've seen? Richard's a local sales rep here. I know he's been using our horse feed and Equine Right and everything, so he's more of a horse guy than me, so he does.
Yeah, I'm also a farrier and horse trainer, and I'm horses 24/7. We've got people using the horse feed; they're just ecstatic about it. The Equine Right, they're using it for barrel. I've got them using it for barrel horses and rope horses, and it just calms. Once they get in that situation to where. Like going down an alleyway or backing in a box, some of them get hot and want to they start using this stuff right here, and it just calms them to where you know, they get their mind right, you know, and it's all through the gut first, but then it goes straight to the mind. The feed is just phenomenal. It's I think it's like 15% protein, 7% fat. It's just a perfect mix for this horse feed. It gives them everything that they need. What I like about it, it is a granular feed where, you know, if you go to pelletizing feed, you're having to put chemicals in it to pelletize it. And then you don't know if your mix is just perfectly right, where this is perfectly mixed every time. You know, there's not any sugars in it and stuff that's just going to make your horse hot. It keeps everything leveled out. I've also used the MB1 on cuts and all kinds of stuff with these horses, and I mean, it's just, you know, I know it's on the cattle side too, but it's phenomenal on horses too. The hair tonic and the skin, all that stuff we use at the house, and I've sold it to some people, and they're really happy with it. It just really helps with everything that they're doing. And it all goes back to, you know, helping these horses. You know, I've used the MB1 for thrush in some horses and cuts, like I said, it cuts everything else, and it works really well. You know, I push it every day. I see lots of customers every day, and I push it, you know, because I haven't seen anything any better on the market.
What does it do for the top line?
The top line on a horse, you know, you got some older horses that they'll lose that top line, but that 15% protein in that feed brings that top line back up. It brings your muscle, builds your muscle back up, and the fat helps too. You know, about 7-8% fat is all you really want in your feed. There's lots of feeds out there that are comparable, but they're pelletized. And there's a lot of people that don't like the pelletized feeds. But you know, the protein and the fat is what really helps with that. And then it's, you know, it's got all the natural oils and stuff in it where you're not getting all the sugars and stuff where you're making your horse hot with like a sweet feed or something that's the same mix, but it's not the same mix. You know, it's not pelletized, but they have to put, you know, syrup and stuff in it to get it to work, and it gets to be too much on those horses, and it just stresses them. But you know, you use the feed and you use the equine right all together, and it's just the perfect solution for these performance horses. Yeah, I just can't say enough about it. I mean, we use it every day at my house. I start a bunch of colts and I train a bunch of performance horses, and that's just the only way to go. And I tell people, you know, when they get there to get their horse, they'll be like, you know, what are you feeding them, this and that? I'll take them in there and give them the whole breakdown of what's going on with their horse. And they're happy with them by the time they get done, you know, because, I mean, it's a well-rounded deal for me. And I've got customers that use it all the time, and I've had some that just started it in the back here, and they've just started using the feed, and their horses are shaving 3 or 4 seconds off of their runs on the barrel and pole patterns, you know. I think it settles everything and gets the horse where it needs to be. But I think that's about all I've got on it. I've used the lung score a little bit on some horses that were having nosebleeds after a run. And I called Bill and I was like, hey, what can we do about this? And he said, use the lung score and the MB1 and just treat it. In about 4 weeks, it was all gone. You know, everything was straightened back out. But I can't say enough about all the products that we use. But that's about all I've got.
Yep, thank you, Richard. And just to touch you on MB1 on horses and wounds, you go to our website, you can see a picture. It's actually my daughter's pony. course, the first night we had her, she ran into something and had a big gash right here on her shoulder. And within 2 months, just topically applying this and keeping it clean with water, and we'd only apply this topically probably every other day at best, within 2 months, the tiny little scar that big. And we got pictures on our website, you can see that progression over a 2-month period with the dates there of how quickly it heals. It scabs up nice and fast with MB1 and just makes it heal, keeps infection out and just heals super fast. And then also on equine right, to touch on that again, if you got a horse colicking or anything, you give them, the normal dose is 10 cc's, but I've had a horse colic and I gave him, I believe, 120 cc's, and within an hour and a half, he was 100% back to normal. Yeah, it just gets that gut moving super rapidly given that high a dose. So yeah, it's a must-have if you have horses because you never know when they're going to colic.
Yeah, back on the colic, I had one at the house. It was a customer's horse, and it was a very high dollar horse, and he was colicking one night, and I got a hold of Peyton and Bill, and I asked them what to do, and we gave him 120 cc's, and like I said, in about an hour and a half, 2 hours, that horse was fine. Also on the MB1, I did have a stud horse. He bit the tip of his tongue off, and they were wondering what to do, and I used the MB1 and just orally. I told them, I said, use it every other day, orally, and then just keep their mouth flushed out. 2 weeks, the horse was completely healed. And he was fine, and he still is fine. I trim him about every 6 weeks, and they've had no problems out of him ever since. But, yeah, I mean, it really works on everything that I've used it on.
Then we also have a herpes and strangles product. A lot of people use it if they're traveling. That's obviously a very contagious and not a fun disease to have. But we've had feedback of people using it, and their horse was the only ones that didn't catch it because this works as a preventative and a treatment. So that's a great product as well. And then Richard briefly touched on it, the hair tonic. If you want to help grow their manes out and stuff, it's more essential oils and everything based. Really helps to get hair growing, works on show cattle. A lot of these products can be used on most livestock. You got to be careful of sheep because of copper toxicity, but the minerals can be used on goats or whatever. MB1 can be used on your dog or cats or what, it's all livestock. And then skin care, that's also to help with any, I think it was for mange, I believe, is the first thing Bill treated with it. So any type of skin issues, again, this is essential oils and stuff, really helps clear up skin issues. And then we also have an EPM product for possum disease in horses that works really well. I do know you got experience with that product on a stud, if you want to share your story on that.
Yeah, I used to dabble in brood mares and stud horses and stuff, and I never owned my own stud. And I just, long story short, found a killer deal on a stud horse. He was a grandson of Hollywood Done It. Man, most beautiful buckskin I ever seen, and just about gave him away. And I knew he had had EPM. But I knew we had an EPM product, so loaded the family up, and we drove several hours and picked him up. And that horse, I didn't think we were going to get him in the trailer, nonetheless get him home alive. I couldn't even tie him up because I was afraid of him falling down and, strangle himself. So anyway, I just gated him and hoped for the best, got him home. Man, he dog-legged terrible. He was a 4-year-old at the time. We're a year later now, so he's 5 now. But he was, as a 4-year-old, he got it the first as a yearling. All right, so I mean, this lady, she just kept him as pretty much like a pet in her backyard. Tried everything, couldn't get him over it. They had spent a lot of money on him and time to get him bred up that way. Anyway, Bill gave me some EPM. and we treated him. I was having a chiropractor come out and working on him because his muscles, I mean, 4 years, going on 4 years like that, I mean, you can only imagine the muscle problems that he had and still has. But he was so tender back there, you know, up by his spine, and he was extremely tender through there where that EPM had settled. And we got to eliminate all that tenderness. I mean, he'd want to bite you when you touch him back there. But we've cured the EPM. Now it's a muscle issue. So we've got him out on pasture now, which before I didn't want him out there because I was afraid he's going to hurt himself, falling all over everything. He can trot. He can you know, get out there and play around like with the rest of the mares and stuff. And you know, like I said, it's a muscle issue now, and we're working on him, trying to get him to really make a full turnaround so he can live the life of a stud. But yeah, it's pretty amazing.
How much EPM did you use and how long did it treat?
Yeah, so I actually did a dual treatment. We treated him twice. I mean, he had it for so long. So we actually treated him 2 times, and that got rid of it. So, and not to say that the first time wouldn't have, we just did a double treatment.
And one treatment is this full quart. Any questions on any of that stuff? We also just recently, Bill and Willie had started making an awesome chicken feed and also a chick starter feed that they can grind up and stuff. So that's a newer product that's available as well, if you have any backyard chickens or anything like that.
And that feel right will work on chickens too.
Yes, I use the Feel Right, this product here for cattle. Instead of buying the stuff you dump in for chick starters, I use Feel Right is what I use for when I start my own meat birds that we butcher or our egg layers. I just put a little bit of that into their water as their electrolyte and vitamin pack and stuff instead of having to buy whatever theirs is.
Infection, I guess, in her sinuses, real wide, everything swelled way up, and couldn't see out of it, and we was putting just like a capsule in their water every day, and we still keep it in their water. And we completely, I went out there one day and I was like, well, which chicken was it, you know? They all look the same, so I mean, you know, yeah, he'll, stuff like that.
So the chicken feed that we came up with, Dad and I sat down and talked about it and figured out what, we've been around chickens, he's been around it his whole life and I've been around it most of mine. The feed we got is all grain feed because I don't believe in pellets. A lot of your chicken feeds have pellets in it, but it's a balanced feed. You can feed it on your yard as for layers, or you don't got to mix laying pellets. You don't have to mix anything with it. It's exactly what the chicken needs, and it shows. It's just like any other product we have. When you get an animal or a chicken on it, within a few days you see a huge difference in them. But the big part that separates us from everybody else is you feed about, I would say about a third less than what you normally feed because their body utilizes more of it. I think the absorption rate on that is 86%. Am I right on that? Pretty close. They absorb 86% of what they eat rather than your normal 40 or 50%. And that's the biggest difference in our feed versus anybody else's. And a lot of the other products, same as anything else. I use the lung score on my chickens. I use the Feel Right and I use the MV1. It does the same thing for the chickens as it does for the cows. It helps them with respiratory problems or any kind of infections in their bodies. The Feel Right helps them get to where they eat, they drink more, things like that.
Thank you, Willie. And yeah, we also recently came out with hard lick tubs with probiotics in it. We partner, if you're familiar with Hudson Livestock Supplements based out of San Angelo, we got with them to get our probiotics in their tubs and worked with them. So now we have tubs available for cattle, horses, and they got several of their tubs are for all species of livestock like goats and sheep. So very excited about that. We just got that done. Got some tubs in over there. So really looking forward to seeing what that happen, how that takes off, because there's only one other probiotic tub on the market that I'm aware of that I've looked. There's some others that, have prebiotics and stuff, but I think there's only 2 of us with actual probiotics on the market. The other one is Riomax. People say they work really well, but they're very expensive. They're like $480 a tub to start. And ours is at that $200, give or take. We just came out with them, so I don't have all those prices memorized yet. But we got several different lines. One's like 150, like I said, because we got a mineral one, we got a stalker stress one, and then an equine one. And what's the other?
Yeah, and we also have different sizes. So we got 225s, 125s, and a couple of our other tubs, you can get them down to 60 pounds, and then a horse tub will go down to 35. So, yeah, different price structure for all that. But them tubs are amazing. One of the things that we've started talking about now is with the probiotics that Bill put together is we hear talk about prebiotics, we hear talk about probiotics, but nobody talks about the postbiotics, and the only way you can get postbiotics is having a true living microbe in that gut, in that last part of their gut, and for ruminant animal, and so we're able to feed, a lot of guys, depending on, everybody feeds kind of different feeds in different parts of, different geographies, but a higher fiber diet is pretty natural for a cow, and we're able to take that fiber, that lignin molecule, and break it because of that microbe and utilize that, which really, really, really cuts down on feed consumption, and it helps with the manure as well. So that manure hits the ground, instead of being an issue that you have to solve later, it's solving itself because it's breaking down and going back to fertilizer. So,
any questions right now?
Do those tubs have the fly or stuff in them?
I don't believe so.
They do. So Hudson has a full line of tubs, right? And they do have some fly control in their tubs. We don't have our probiotics in any of those right now. The way we work with Hudson is if there is a demand for, if we get asked, because they're still running their original line. So if we get asked by a customer, hey, I would really like this tub, then we go to Hudson and say, we need this tub. And then they'll put our probiotics in that tub, because we've already got the mixture and everything set, so they can take it to any tub, but they're not gonna just produce all these tubs with our probiotics in them just right now and have them sitting there. So that's how we've actually started with 2, and now we're up to 5, I think now. I think we just went into a 5th one. So, and that's happened very quickly. So, one of the questions that I got asked at a farm show not long ago, and had a conversation with them about it, is the heat. There's some tubs out there that help alleviate heat stress in cattle, and we can actually do that as well in a tub. We can. We do have that at our disposal. So.
And you mentioned farm shows and stuff. I wouldn't say a lot, but we go to almost one farm show per month at least. So, and we've started doing that more recently here the past year, trying to get our name out there. I know some of you, when you came in, you said, hey, I've never heard of you guys where you advertise. We don't do a lot of advertising. It's all mostly word of mouth. We started going to some farm shows. We started advertising on Facebook a little bit and got social media. You can see us filming it here. We got YouTube and Facebook and everything like that, website. But most of it's been spread grassroots, word of mouth. When Bill started the company, all these products are designed and came about because someone had a problem. They came to him, found him somehow or knew him, said, hey, I got this problem. And Bill does a little bit of research and knows how to put the product the probiotics or the microbes together to get out of them what he needs to make the products to solve the problems. That's what we're here for, is going directly to the American farmers and ranchers and solving problems on their operation. And to my knowledge, like I said, we've been to a lot of farm shows. There's no other products like these on the market. They're similar, but they're not exactly like this.
There's only one Bill Strange.
There's only one Bill Strange. Like BioSugar, there's a lot of biologicals on the market that say the same things we do, but they do not know how to put them together to keep them balanced, to keep them shelf stable. We're the only ones that have we got product that's over 15 years old, that's as live and viable as it was the day Bill made it. No one else can do that. And it's through Bill's technology that he designed, came up with, that is the key to all of it. And Bill, his technology, and the microbes that he works with.
Yeah, a common question is, how in the world do you keep this viable without refrigeration or anything? And that's why. You're looking at him. So we don't have to refrigerate any of these products to be viable for them to work. And that really sets us apart from anything else out there. Because we're dealing with living, live bugs. You got to remember that. They're live, okay? We're not dealing with spores and things like that.
And on the probiotic sides, no one has a full strength that we do. Theirs is diluted, or it's just the spores, like you said, and it's not a living organism at the colony strength that we have. So there truly is nothing else like this on the market. And I mean, like I said, go and do your research. Like I said, you won't find stuff like this that then does what it says it's going to. So if we're ready to eat, we'll go ahead and eat. If you guys got any questions, feel free to come up and ask any one of us or anything. Let's say a blessing real quick. We would, and then we'll get to it.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for today. Thank you for just this gathering that we have, and we thank you for the effort that people made to come out and learn more about what we're doing. And we just thank you, Lord, for the wisdom that you instilled in Bill, and for guiding him, directing him, and help solving these farmers and ranchers' problems that we're able to take to their farms and ranches and help them out and implement them so they can do better and make a better living for their families. And Lord, I pray that as you bless us, that you continue to help us bless others. And we just pray a blessing over each person here in their operation. Lord, I pray that you would just help us grow closer to you each day and bless this food to our bodies and bless the hands that prepared it. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
And Bill is also a cook, so he cooked all the food today.
MB1, give them a shot behind the ear, and shipping fever's a talking point. It takes care of it as well as anything I've ever used. I've been doing this my entire life. And I do like calling him my mad scientist. I mean, with a name like Bill Strange, there's some things that you can say about him and everything. It's kind of like my last name. There's some things that I don't have a lot of pink in my closet. That's right.